first things first, I'm going to go ahead and arm my track and just roll a couple of parts down. Okay, let's assume that you're just working with one person right now in the studio. For whatever reason, nobody else is in. We're just trying to get the rhythm guitar down. In that case, it's very common for someone to want to take more than one take of a part so that they can see maybe they got lucky and get a better one. If that's what's happening, then a lot of DAWs will have an option for you to work internally inside the track that you're working on. So rather than moving down here to audio 2, audio 3, audio 4 and getting your takes, you can consolidate those takes within audio 1. And so you'd go ahead and return to audio 1 and roll right on top of the old take. Okay, and so when I hit stop, you see now that audio 1 has expanded and bumped audio 2 and 3 and 4 on down a little lower. And we have take 1, take 2, and then we have audio 1 up here at the top. Now, there's a little box that says that we're on take 2, so we also see take 2 is highlighted here. If I click on 2 and then select the other take 1 becomes highlighted. So hopefully that makes it pretty clear what's happening. We're either listening to take 1 or take 2 as our audio 1. And you can keep going. You can keep adding take after take after take. And this would be considered kind of a comping process. And let me show you a little closer what comping would entail. I'm going to click this little icon here so that I get a scissor tool. And let's just assume that in order to get our best performance, we want to take the first couple of bars from take 2. I'm going to move my playhead to just before the articulation here at the beginning of bar 4, and Apple T to split my track. And then let's say I want to be back in by bar 5, so I'll come here again to just before my articulation and Command T. We're going to come here and do it again at bar 6, Apple T, and bar 7, Apple T. Okay, so now I've got all these different regions chopped up, and I can mix and match them however I want to. So as you see here, different parts are highlighted, but as I played my main track, they're going to basically give me a stitching together of this take 2 to take 1 to take 2 to take 1 to take 2. Now there is an automatic crossfade that happens when you do this, and you can adjust that to be a bigger or smaller crossfade. I did this really quickly. I didn't zoom in real carefully, so you hear the transition points a little bit. You don't hear it on the first one so much, but you do hear it on that one. So I would have taken a little bit more time and made my edit points a little better. I can also go back in there and adjust them if I want to. But this is a quick explanation of what comping is. So, obviously if somebody was working really hard, they might have, 10 or 11 takes that they want to stitch, into one super take. And that's what you're looking at here at the top. That's your super take, and then here are all your extra takes. That's what people mean when they say, let's start the comping process. It is editing, but it's editing that has to happen on the recording end of things. And it's whatever software you're using, the more fluent you are at this type of stuff, the faster you are, the better, the happier the artist is going to be. They're probably going to be stressed anyway, trying to get the world's best, their best playing ever in a recording situation. And so, the smoother you can be on your end, the better it's going to go. So let's take another look at some things here for a second. I'm going to undo a bunch of stuff here and step our way back to just one take. So now I'm back out of having expanded my audio one. I'm just at one take at this point. I'm going to do a punch in now. And so I have an auto punch feature that if I enable, it pops up this little red region bar. And if I'm trying to fix something, I can set this up to automatically let me record just that little point. So let's say that back here toward the end, I felt like things were getting a little sloppy maybe. I can zoom in and adjust my points and just play through. So that's the very end of my E chord. Or excuse me, that's my A chord. So what I'll do, having set up my punch-in point, is just come back here a little bit. I know that when I hit bar 6, I'm back to my A chord. So I'm going to set up a little early, hit record, and just start playing along. I'm going to undo that. Didn't have my volume turned up on my guitar. One more shot. Okay, so now you can see, if I take auto punch off, now you can see that it kind of did an automatic comp for me, but only at that one point. And here you see the crossfades showing up. So that's what a punch-in looks like. And a punch-in is different from comping in that really you're just targeting one obvious mistake. I want to fix that spot. It's not about trying to piece together lots and lots of large sections into a super take. It's more about damage control. Fix that bad note. But this again is going to be something that musicians who have been in the studio before will expect as just a regular baseline option for themselves. They're going to say, can we punch that? I want to do another take on that. And so you need to have a plan for how you're going to handle that expectation. Most of your DAWs are going to give you these options. You can, as long as you understand what the musician wants, each DAW has its own approach. And so if you do a YouTube search for Pro Tools punch-in or Pro Tools comping, you're going to find a video that's going to walk you through the specifics as far as what menu to open up or what toolbar to go to. The main thing is that you understand the concept. And so hopefully we've demonstrated that concept here pretty well. One more thing to show you. We've already done the comping and the punch in. I'm going to undo, and I want to show you one other thing here. This is part of a layering process. It's not so much editing anymore. It's more about just knowing whether or not you want a layered sound for the part that you're playing. I'm going to lay down another guitar part, just like we did before, but I'm going to put it on the second track this time. Okay, so in this instance, this might be an example of somebody who's getting ready to do comping without, trying to use the built-in internal tracking options that we showed you earlier. And you can certainly do it that way. I could come in here and manually chop things up and line them up. One of the nice things is that when you are doing it that way, it's a little bit easier to adjust crossfades. For instance, I could chop this one here and this one up here, come over to these guys and try to get a good spot. And so I could just delete this, grab this guy, and slide him right up there. And then, if I want to, I can actually drag this over a little bit, assuming I don't actually open up into my next note value there. And you can see that these little crossfades get drawn in. If I just solo this guy, I'm out of time a little bit, but you get the idea. So that would be a manual comping versus the way I showed you earlier. But what I really wanted to show is that if you're going to be layering the sound and you expect both of these to be played at the same time, then you're going to have to put them on separate tracks. And the reason for that is pretty simple. It's just a different sound. Soloed, together, soloed. And then if you want to have a lot of fun, you even pan them hard left and hard right. And so layering sounds, of course not every sound benefits from being layered, but guitars, especially distorted guitars, overdriven guitars, a lot of times people will layer those. And vocals get doubled a lot or layered. So planning a session where you think that you're doing a style that might benefit from layered guitars or layered vocals, then you also want to plan on, adding that to your list of things to record. How many takes through do I want, and do I want to be able to play those simultaneously so that they have a layered effect, not just, having them all collapsed in one track for comping purposes. So that's pretty much it, and we'll experiment and talk about this more in class next time.